Welcome to the Digital Velocity Podcast, a podcast covering the intersection between strategy, digital marketing, and emerging trends impacting each of us. In each episode, we interview industry veterans to dive into the best hard-hitting analysis of industry news and critical topics facing brand executives. Now, here are your hosts, Tim Curtis and Eric Martinez.
Hello, welcome to this episode of the Digital Velocity Podcast. I'm Eric Martinez from Blue Tangerine.
And I'm Tim Curtis from Cohere One.
Today, we have Joshua George on the show, owner and founder of ClickSlice, an award-winning SEO agency based in London. Joshua has been involved in the SEO industry since 2015, has quickly made a name for himself. He's the founder of the prestigious SEO agency in London, and is also an established global lecturer who pioneers making SEO education more accessible across the globe. As the #1 ranked SEO consultant in London, he speaks at conferences and events, both online and offline. He has been featured in publications like Forbes and the London Post, just to name a few. Joshua and his team are generating over £1 million in organic revenue every month for clients, thousands of leads, and millions of dollars in sales by applying the latest SEO strategies and tactics. Joshua, welcome to the show.
Hey man, thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're very much looking forward to this conversation. Me, maybe a touch more than Tim, because I absolutely love the field of SEO. Not the practitioner that you are, but have enough knowledge to be dangerous. Joshua, if you'd take just a brief moment and tell us about your journey and why you founded ClickSlice.
Yeah, so I've been involved in the SEO industry since 2016 now, and I initially got involved into SEO as an end result of dropshipping. So in 2015, I used to actually own one of the biggest e-commerce stores in the UK, or e-commerce eBay stores, I should say. And we were pretty much just drop shipping items from Amazon over to eBay, and it was going really, really well. But the downside of selling on eBay is that for every item you sell, you have to pay a FVF, a final value fee. And it's typically 10% of the value of the item that you're selling. So if you sell a steam mop for £100, you have to give eBay £10 of that, which is quite a lot of money. So we were spending literally thousands every month on eBay fees. So I did what anyone else would do. They'd make their own website, which I did. However, it wasn't on page one on Google. It wasn't getting any clicks, any sales. So I then just did a search for how to get my website higher on Google, stumbled across SEO. And from that day onwards, I started to learn it, really become obsessed with the industry and how it all works. Even to this day, I'm still fascinated. You can manipulate an algorithm to make your website higher. And from that day onwards, my kind of future just took a different direction. I didn't carry on with the e-commerce stuff. I started offering SEO as a service to business owners.
Very interesting. And I thought something that you just said in there, manipulate the algorithms, not really what we do, right? We're not manipulating the algorithm, but we are trying to figure out what matters the most in those algorithms.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, I would say probably using the word manipulate isn't the right word there, but it's pretty much giving Google what it wants to see.
Yeah, which is really, really interesting because we have a lot of conversations on our team about SEO and paid search, right? We do both in our company. And, one of the things that is really, really happening with the algorithms, regardless if it's SEO or PPC, is really, really feeding it good information so that Google can make the best determination on how to rank your content. One of the things I've learned over the years is that a great or good SEO has a viewpoint on what's most important in doing their optimizations, and it informs their strategy. So for you, what do you think is the most important aspect of SEO, and why is it important?
So I would say probably one of the most important elements is keyword research, because no matter how good your SEO campaign is after you do keyword research, if you haven't done keyword research properly, you're going to struggle to generate results. Because what we find is we speak to a lot of business owners who say, yeah, I want to be on page one for this, and that's the only keyword that matters to me. And they kind of laser focus on this one keyword, and it's normally the most obvious keyword. So if you're a plumber in New York, for example, your most likely keyword you want to target is plumber New York. Whilst that is probably the biggest keyword, there's lots of other long tail variations that you can rank for a lot quicker that also bring in a lot of revenue to the business. So what I always see people going wrong is just having a wrong keyword strategy. And to give you like another good example, right? We do a lot of SEO for e-commerce stores. So e-commerce stores are always driven on targeting commercial terms, men's razor blade, for example. What they always miss out on is targeting the longer tails, which they can target through the blogs, like what is the best men's razor blade? How much do razor blades cost? And these are searches that people are doing higher up in the funnel, they're interested in the services or products you're offering, but they're not necessarily convinced and ready to buy. But that traffic is still relevant. You can attract it and scoop it up with your blog post and then filter it through to your actual collection page. So missing out keyword research and just assuming the most obvious keyword is the one to target is where most people go wrong.
I was looking through the content that you produce, and you have this idea that there's really 4 keyword classifications. Would you mind just briefly telling the audience those 4 classifications and why they're important as part of your keyword research and your keyword strategy?
Yeah, so there's different keyword types, and in regards to what they mean, it all comes down to the intent behind those. So typically we only focus on 2 of those, which is informational related keywords. Now, this is any keyword that a user would search for when they're seeking more information. So these are typically going to be keywords that are questions like how, what, can, why, any keyword that starts with one of those words, a user is looking for more information. Now, instead of that user landing on one of your sales pages, selling to them, that isn't the right type of content to serve up because that's not the right intent. So you really want to make sure you're targeting informational related keywords on your blog posts. And the second type of keywords, which are probably the most important, is your transactional keywords. So these are the keywords from the intent behind the keyword. The person already knows what they want. They just need to find a page which has that product for sale at a good price and obviously good shipping times. So those are the 2 most important ones, informational and transactional. There are other types as well, such as navigational keywords. So for example, if you have an Amex card and you want to log into Amex, you'd most likely go into Google, type in Amex login. That keyword would be a navigational type keyword because you're navigating to a specific page. There's actually lots more than 4. Informational and transactional are the 2 you really want to focus on.
For an e-commerce brand, let's say a brand that has 5,000 items on their site, how do you guys help your clients figure out? You mentioned the word blogging earlier. I talk to my clients about blogging and they never end up doing it because it's time. They're busy doing other aspects of their job.
Yeah.
So getting down to generating content, I view blogs as a content generation tool. It's not just the blog itself, right? Lots of different outcomes. Now, how do you get your e-commerce oriented clients to write blog content that fits within the context of what they're selling, both for informational and transactional purposes?
Awesome. That is a really good question. So in regards to targeting the transactional related keywords, so, as you just said, most e-com stores will have hundreds, if not thousands of products to have for sale. It's not efficient or a good use of your time to try and optimize every single product page. And product pages often more than not are the pages that are going to struggle to rank the most because it's just a product page. And a lot of those have the same content across those pages, just different colors, different sizes. So Google doesn't really deem your product pages to have much value to users, although we know from a user perspective, when the user is on your website, the product pages are great, right? However, when you search for any transactional keyword, typically what you're going to see in Google is category or collection pages ranking. So if you're carrying out a search for wireless keyboards, for example, right, you're going to land on an e-commerce store that has a category page with literally 20 or 30 wireless keyboards to sell. You can browse every single product in that category and then pick which one, is the best for your fit based on what you want, whether it's a mechanical keyboard or a soft type keyboard. So there's lots of different ways you can go about it, but typically your transactional keywords are going to be targeted on your category pages. So when it comes to us writing blogs for clients, there's 2 main reasons why we write blog posts for clients. Is first to attract that top of the funnel traffic, as I was touching on earlier. That is relevant traffic that you actually want to have on your website. And traffic in itself is actually a ranking factor. If Google can see your website is getting traffic, it's more likely to give you more traffic in the future over a site that doesn't get any traffic. Now, the second reason, which is probably one of the biggest reasons why I still recommend you publish blog posts on your e-commerce stores, is it allows you to build what we call topical relevancy. So what people always forget is that Google is a search engine and it has this thing called Googlebot. Googlebot's goal is to crawl the internet to discover and understand what your pages is about. Now, e-commerce stores are notoriously known for not having much content on them. They just have products, product descriptions, and basically a checkout button, right? So when you publish more blogs onto your e-commerce store that is relevant to the products that you are selling, again, using the same example, let's imagine you sell men's razor blades. If you keep publishing blog posts related to men's shaving blades, then what you're doing is you're increasing the topical relevancy of your site. Google has no doubt whatsoever your site is about men's razor blades. So whenever someone searches for a men's razor blade, Google is more likely to return your website to the user as it deems yours to be the best fit.
I'm going to take us back one step. We're talking a lot about the very specific keywords and how we go about that. But, in engaging with a lot of brands, a lot of clients, the challenge I find with SEO is that brands are typically focused on that tyranny of the urgent. So they have a short-sightedness in relation to going out and grabbing traffic or grabbing placement, etc. And so SEO typically has not risen to the level of investment, time, energy, and more importantly, focus that your traditional pay-per-click or SEM has. Again, because we need to be ranked right away. We need this right away. And we don't take a look at the long-term growth aspect or the long tail, if you will. So how do you go about, because you have to do this all the time, how do you go about engaging in the conversation to reinforce and to pull people into SEO to explain it is mission critical that you do it today? Because when you wait 6 months to a year, look at what you've lost. How do you go about that conversation?
Yeah, so I would say there's kind of two ways we approach it. The first is something I realized a while ago, because it is quite a big of a job to convince someone they need to invest in SEO and they're not going to get the results for 6 months down the line. So we actually invested in a lot of SEO in our own agency site. If you Google SEO expert London, SEO consultant London, we rank #1. So a lot of our clients that come on board are people coming to us, they're carrying out a search for an SEO term, and they just simply see our page, they see our services, what we offer, and then they get in touch. So for us, that works really well because the person already understands they need SEO. They've carried out a search for an SEO term. They already understand that they need SEO right now, which is why they carried out that search. So for a lot of the kind of deals and clients we speak to, we don't really have to educate them that much. However, we do see more of a common trend of us having to say this to e-com clients, is what we started to specialize in within the last year. And most e-com brands, as you said, like are running ads, whether it's Facebook ads, Google ads, TikTok ads, whatever ad is performing well, right? And the great thing about ads is when you put an ad for a show within an hour, you can get in clicks and sales to your brand, which is amazing. Where on the downside, SEO can take months to kick in, which is exactly why brands overlook SEO. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying paid ads are bad, because I think every marketing strategy has its place. But I think to be 100% reliant on paid ads is not a good idea. And the reason I say that is because CPCs, cost per clicks, are always on the rise. It's costing more money to generate the same amount of clicks now as it was last year. There's more advertisers coming into the space and they're willing to spend more money on the same clicks. Again, it's pushing up clicks on the whole. And ads can sometimes have off days as well. You could show the same ad for 100 days and one day you just get no clicks or no sales, and you haven't changed the targeting, you haven't changed the copy. So having those off days can be, really painful to a business. But what I see most often, which is what we make aware to clients, is ads are great, but ultimately the problem with ads is you don't own the traffic source. So what happens is we spoke to a client last week, right? And they own a wholesale business in the UK, selling like garden fertilizers, garden foal, pretty much a wholesale garden outlet, pretty much. He came to us because he now wanted SEO. And I was like, oh, is there any reason why you want to do SEO now and not 6 months ago? And he was like, well, his whole business was reliant on Facebook ads and it was going absolutely well. Mm-hmm. But all of a sudden, Facebook banned his account and he's trying to get through to them. They're not responding and he's really struggling. He's, expanded his warehouse last year to basically supply the demand that he's getting from his ads. His account's now gone. His clicks, his revenue is literally gone overnight. So he's now trying to catch up with what he's done in the last 6 months. And all the guys he's competing with that invested in SEO for the last 2 years, they're absolutely killing it. So now we've got a massive hill to climb for this guy. But he realizes, hey, yeah, it needs to be done. I should have done this 2 years ago. But unfortunately, most businesses only realize that when it's too late. So my advice to anyone listening to this who's running ads, always 100% relying on ads, is don't turn off the ads, because the ads have their place, but start to think long-term and invest in other channels, whether it's SEO, email marketing, but just make sure you're diversifying your revenue. You never want to have all your eggs in one basket.
I've always taken the approach. This has been successful for me. There's a couple ways I kind of start the conversation. The first way that I frame and get the context important so that people kind of align. SEO is a bit of a voodoo, right? It's sort of out there. People don't necessarily understand it. They are oftentimes intimidated by technical SEO. It's not something that they're comfortable having conversations about, and sometimes it's easier not to deal with it. Where I've started is I've been talking about risk assessment. Businesses do not understand the example you just cited with Facebook. They do not understand just how much risk they have in being over leveraged in a SEM or PPC environment. The example for Facebook, Apple's intelligent tracking prevention, boom, immediately. Facebook went from king to pauper. it went from a targeting tool to a non-targeting tool. We had instances of businesses that were generating 4,000 to 5,000 leads a day, quality leads a day, that dropped to 300 and something leads a day. Absolutely devastating. But because these businesses had over leveraged particular players, they weren't prepared for the risk of what happens when something changes. And it's not necessarily just Facebook. What happens when Google makes a new change and you're targeted? There was a cutlery company that overnight Google decided knives are weapons. They're also in the kitchen, but they're weapons. You couldn't run campaigns on them anymore. Again, there was no ability for these clients to turn things around. The second part of that, once you have someone's attention, what I feel like is a very effective way of doing it is I talk about retirement strategies and investment. 401k. Are you waiting until the last 5 years of retirement to start paying into your 401k? No, that's ludicrous. And everybody around the table knows that. But then when you apply that to SEO and why you have to start early, the rule of 72, the magnifying impact of starting early, it's exactly corresponds with SEO. And I feel like if we can just get some of those pieces across, we might get those people who aren't looking for SEO expert in London to really begin to pay attention to the importance of SEO. And listen, when you are over leveraging a channel, whether it's Amazon or Facebook, as an owner, you are writing an equity check to those organizations. They own a portion of your business, whether you like it or not. And you got to understand that. So SEO, vital, vital, vital.
Awesome. That was a really, really good analogy. I just start using that, I think, for clients, and we do need to educate them because you're spot on. And the problem is, like I said, most people only realize this when it comes too late. And the downside is when it's too late, it is too late. And you've got way more work to do to catch up.
So hard to run and catch up.
It is very hard to run and catch up because more and more people are jumping into the market every single day, which leads me to the next question, which is really about marketplaces. So there are some statistics out there that say 70% of the consumers searching for products start on a marketplace. And we know Amazon's by far the largest marketplace that people start their shopping adventures on. During the pandemic, we definitely saw a shift away, maybe not a shift away from the marketplaces, but we saw more direct traffic, more searches for individual brands as people had time to do more research. But now that they're back to quote normal lives and they're time constrained again, it's really, really easy to go shopping on a marketplace. So the question for you is, how are you seeing sites like Amazon impact the SEO landscape? What do you think companies can do to compete and rank for relevant terms vis-a-vis these marketplace applications?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I think it touches on to what we just covered. So again, it kind of goes back to how I got involved into SEO as well. Like I used to be one of the biggest sellers on eBay and I was drop shipping, and there was always these problems that were out of my control that the platform just introduced, such as those final value fees that I just had to either say, okay, I'll take it or I'm going to go elsewhere. It's kind of like an ultimatum they give you all the time. And you never want to be building your business on a third party platform that you don't own, because ultimately you don't own your business. Amazon send you an email and say, hey, I know you've got this amazing FBA business. You're doing 100 million profit a month, for example. At the end of the day, you could be doing that yourself without Amazon, right? If Amazon send the email and cancel your account, you no longer have a business, right? So you always need to be investing in your own platforms, right? So that is the first thing, what my view on marketplaces. The second view is more often than not, when we're doing SEO for e-commerce clients, we're always ranking above Amazon. We've actually got loads of case studies for keywords are ranking for clients above Amazon. And the reason why we can do that so easily is because Amazon has millions or even billions of products on their website, right? So whenever we take on a client and we're saying, hey, we want to rank you for electric bikes, we know that Amazon isn't investing the majority of their resources to rank for electric bikes. We can publish hundreds of blogs around electric bikes for our client, build that topical relevancy, something Amazon won't do. They'll just have one page and yes, it'll be authoritative because it's Amazon, but they'll struggle to rank based on relevancy. So what we do say to clients as well, which is quite important to know about SEO, when it comes to ranking on the first page, it isn't just the most authoritative websites that rank, it's the most authoritative and the most relevant. which is often why when you carry out any search for, anything generically or researching, for example, my little brother had acne the other day. So he was searching for some cream for acne, some really niche searches, and he was finding all these little blogs about advice and screenshots people are putting up, and pretty much like a forum, but on the website, really high quality content, all super relevant to what he was searching for. You would have thought if you're searching for anything to do with acne cream and stuff like that, it'd be Amazon, all these big sites on page one. So just goes to show you can easily outrank these sites. You just need to do the right approach, which is building that relevancy.
You make a really, really great point. But then you have clients. So this is a real challenge that I face with one of my clients today. They're heavy into Amazon. They're heavy into Wayfair. They're heavy into, 16 or 17 different marketplaces. One of the things I see that's interesting in Amazon is Amazon understands the content game. And so they're constantly pushing their merchants to continue to update their content, add new content, add video, all those things, right? When you have a client who is heavily invested within the marketplaces and they're to a certain extent competing against themselves, is there anything that you found that like really helps set the stage for them to be able to grow their own traffic and their own sites, even though they're investing heavily in some of these other places?
Yeah, so I would say if that person is investing heavily into Amazon, they must be generating a good ROI to keep putting more money back into Amazon. So what I would say to that person is try and pivot your focus to putting more money into Amazon and making more money to thinking more long term. So taking some of that profits out of your making from Amazon and invest that into your own website. Now, again, SEO is a long-term thing, right? It's not a case where if your business is relying on Amazon, you need to quickly turn it off tomorrow and go all into SEO. That is definitely not what I'm saying. What I'm trying to say is you need to think long-term and start planting these seeds for your future, right? And as you were saying earlier, Tim, pretty much planning for your retirement. So if I own a big FBA store on Amazon, what I'd be doing, I'd be taking a percentage of my profits every month and investing it into my own asset that I own. And eventually over time, you'll see your traffic compound. You'll be getting more backlinks, you'll be ranking. And then what you'll notice is, hey, my little site that I've put money into, it's starting to generate sales. I'm going to take this more seriously now. And that way you diversify your risk. You're not just quickly pausing all your revenue off and then jumping into your own website.
So let's kind of pivot off that a little bit. I want to ask a further question. What I've started noticing, of course, over the last couple of years is the steady increase of YouTube, as an example, in playing a part in SEO. So you'll see YouTube videos and content rank above just written content. So we've not really discussed the YouTube aspect, but we all know that's been the second largest search engine between two or three. So let's talk about YouTube and how YouTube plays into this and the strategy that somebody might employ. Your brother's example of the skincare. Very, very quickly, you go into any subject like that. And what I've noticed is what was 10 years ago was blog is now video. Wildly successful videos and vlogs, and people are paying attention.
Yeah, no, sure. I think that's a really good question. So we are definitely seeing more videos enter the SERP for sure. What I would say is I think ultimately when it comes to doing SEO or just viewing SEO on the whole is you always need to remember Google's best intention is to give the best result to the user, right? If you go into Google and search for, I don't know, chocolate ice cream, for example, and then you're seeing all vanilla ice cream, you're not going to have a good experience, right? You won't use Google again. So Google always has the intention to give you the best result, whatever you search for. So if you carry out a search for something like how to make a pizza, for example, for me personally, I would rather see a video of someone making that than a blog post of someone telling me get out a pan, roll the dough, and I can't visualize me doing that. So in instances like that, yes, video has its place. However, when you're searching for transactional keywords like best men's shaver or best wireless microphone, anything to do with a transactional intent behind it, people typically don't want to see those videos. Unless it's more of a generic affiliate term, like the best wireless headphones, then people want to see a comparison. Often more than not, video will be better for that because people can see the headphones, they can compare them. And as you said, a lot of these videos are going absolutely viral and blown up inorganically in the SERPs as well. And the good thing about YouTube as well is Google owns YouTube. It's a second
Right.
search engine in the world. So I always see it as like, if you're producing content for either Google search or YouTube, you're still producing content for the same company, which is Alphabet, who owns both of those. Definitely would say in terms of how I'm seeing it affect SEO, it could be a case where your typical blog post now is not getting much views because it's going to video content. But if that is the case, you have to adapt. That is our role as an SEO. Like we have to adapt. They're changing the algorithm every single year. If you can't adapt, then you are not going to succeed. Well, this is obviously the advantage you have with work with an agency, right? They would spot this trend and they would go out and get the videos done for you, or work with you to get those done. They may not go and record it in the agency office, but they would advise you on what you need to do to succeed. And this is also another reason why we always say to clients, yes, I appreciate you can learn SEO on a blog or watch a few videos, but it really isn't just something you give second thought. So you have to be all in the SEO industry to understand it. That's very important, because we have taken on a lot of clients, even this year. They've come to us now because the person that was managing in-house wasn't getting enough results. And that is because they're not an SEO. They are a finance person and they do a bit of SEO on the side, put the keyword here and build a backlink. And that is not enough. You need to take SEO seriously.
A follow-up to that question, I have a viewpoint that SEO today is all about content. You talk a lot about content, but I think content creation is scary for a lot of people, right? There's some people that do an amazing job of just being able to take any little thread and create a little story out of it and get it optimized and onto their site. And there's some companies that do an amazing job, but the vast majority of us think content is scary. How do you advise a client to get over that hump? What's the first step? You talk about writing a blog, but even to a certain extent, writing a blog can be scary for somebody who's not used to writing a blog. So how do you get people to jumpstart the process? Obviously, your team may do some of that heavy lifting for them, but let's say if they were to start out on their own, what are 2 or 3 things that they could do to get started on that?
Yeah, so I would say in an ideal world, you'd go to an expert who handle it, so you don't have to worry about it. Same way if my car breaks, I'll go to a mechanic that can fix it. I won't try and fix it myself. However, if you are starting out, I appreciate obviously budgets are limited. Not everyone can afford to outsource anything, whether it's going to a garage or getting the SEO done. So one of the great things about SEO is whenever you do a search for any keyword, what you see on page one is Google showing you their hand. They are showing you what they expect to see on page one. So if you own a website, maybe selling hair and makeup, for example, or selling different types of products in the beauty industry, and you want to write a blog post on the 5 best acne creams on the market, right? If you're unsure how to start, all you need to do is Google the 5 best acne creams on the market, and Google will show you what it wants to see. So you can actually look at the top 5 websites. Always say top 5 because the top 10 can be a bit overwhelming. Even top 3 can work. And just analyze the content. Look at how many headings they have. What are they using H1 tag? Or what does the H2 tag say? What is the keyword density? How many times have they mentioned the keyword? How many internal links? What are the images? Just looking at that is pretty much your blueprint. And it's kind of the same process we follow at the agency when clients come to us and we want to be number one. We don't just say, hey, let's go with 4 blogs and 2 backlinks. We don't just make it up, which is what a lot of people actually do. We analyze what is already working and replicate that for our client sites.
If someone would get started, are there any specific roles on the team that you'd say, in order to do this right, you absolutely need this role or these 2 roles to get started?
Yes, I would say the first role before you do anything is the keyword research, because if you don't know what keywords to target, anything you do after that, the content you write will be pretty much pointless because no one's going to be searching for the content you've written because it's not targeting a keyword. The links you build won't be effective. And even if you do rank your site, you end up ranking for a keyword that no one is searching for. So getting the foundation right and making sure you're targeting the right keywords is absolutely fundamental. A lot of people will say, hey, I sell wireless headphones. I'm going to rank for wireless headphones. That is ridiculously competitive. And if you did your keyword research, you would see when you search for wireless headphones on page 1, you've got the biggest sites in the world. And to rank above those, you'll be building relevancy and authority for years to come. And it's not worth it. So if you do your research initially and do it correctly, you can see that and kind of avoid, the common pitfalls that most people fall into.
So one of my favorite questions when you're talking about an engagement is, how do we know it's working? What does success look like with SEO? We're so accustomed to what success looks like for pay-per-click. SEO is a different animal. So it kind of distills back down. There's quiet in the room and somebody finally asks the question, what does success look like and how do we know we are being successful?
Yeah, so we actually have like 3 touch points of reporting for clients. I won't get into every single touch point. The short answer is we track 2 KPIs. And you have to remember is when you're hiring someone to do SEO, their job is to make your website more visible. So we can do that, right? So what do we track? Your keyword ranking. So if you are, let's say, a lawyer in San Francisco, right? You probably want to be on page 1 for lawyer San Francisco, or attorney, I should say. Sorry, that's my UK terminology coming through. But pretty much, instead of you Googling that keyword every day, attorney San Francisco, and to see where you are, making a note in your pencil, position 6, 7, 5, we have a rank tracker. So we will put your keyword and put your website into our tool, and it will show us where your website ranks for that keyword. So that is one KPI we use, because over time, what you'll see is we start tracking a keyword and the client's ranking in position 55. There's 10 results per page on Google. So position 55 is page 6. And then next month it will be 35, 25, 60, and it will slowly go higher and higher and higher. However, keyword rankings, whilst they're great, ultimately clients are paying us to get more traffic, right? So we also track traffic as well. And as you're doing SEO is compounding. So your traffic should be increasing month on month as well. So if you're working with an agency and they're not telling you where you're ranking for your keywords or how much traffic you're getting, that's a red flag for sure. Most people hide that data because they track keywords that no one searches for, and they know they're going to generate no traffic and inquiries. So we actually had a chat with a client, and they were saying that, hey, like, we're getting all this traffic now. It's converting, but not as well as we want. Can you help us? I thought, well, I can give you my input on what I think you should do from a CRO perspective, which is obviously conversion rate optimization. But ultimately, our job is to get you at the top. There's only so much we can do. We can't get you to the top and then optimize your website and test different colors of buttons. Like, you need to hire someone else for that. Everyone has their own speciality, right? And, so sometimes that is an issue we have with clients. Like, hey, I'm getting so much traffic now. How can I make this convert? So we are looking for a good CRO agency we can actually recommend when clients do come to us about that.
So parallel to that, if someone's looking for that SEO partner that you've just been describing, what do they look for and what do they ask about?
Great question. So I think the first thing you want to pay attention to is the case studies on the website. A lot of agencies will have lots of case studies, and you can actually catch out a lot of agencies because most of these agencies will have case studies from like 2012 when it was super easy to rank. And they're like, oh, we got this client number 1. If you take the keyword they're shown in the case study and Google it, check where that site ranks. You'll probably see it's not even on page 1 anymore. So that's something you can do, which most agencies always still like kind of trip over. The second thing I would say is if you're hiring someone to make your website get higher, at least make sure their website ranks as well. Like, it's all good getting a referral from your friend, but at least check out the person's website. So like I said, for us, I was very aware of this. There's no way I can sell SEO to someone if I haven't done SEO myself. So I rank number 1 for SEO consultant in London. So when I speak to clients, I say, look, this is what we can do. Our process is proven. These are our rates. Do you want to go ahead? And if they say, no, it's okay. Do you really want to go to the guy below us? It doesn't make any sense. Don't you want to be at the top too? So ranking for keywords is a great way to see what agencies are serious. And you can do that yourself just by Googling SEO agency plus the city you live in, and you'll find lots of those on there. The third thing which you want to avoid, which is another red flag, I would say, is agencies that tie you into long contracts. Again, most agencies do this because they know they can't generate results. And when they tie you into a contract for 12 months, guess what? They've got predictable revenue coming in for the next 12 months where, we only operate on a month-to-month basis. We put our neck on the line and we base all of our results on us delivering what we say to clients prior to them coming on board. So avoid any agency that ties you into a contract. Yes, we don't own Google. We can't guarantee results, but there's no reason to be locked into a contract. You should have communication every single month and know exactly what's going on. I would say that's probably the 3 biggest things to look out for.
I found it interesting just in researching your company and your process, how much you guys do up front. I think, a lot of agencies forget and a lot of clients forget how much research there is that goes into having a successful campaign. It looks like you guys have built that as part of your sales process, right?
Yeah, I lost track of the amount of hours we spend up front before a client even becomes a client. For us, it works really well because we provide so much value up front. It's just a no-brainer. If a client comes to us and they say, hey, send me a proposal, it's like, well, hey, we can't just send you one. Like, I don't know what you want to target. What are your keywords? What's your budget? When do you want to rank? Is it like within 6 months? Is it a year? There's so many variables where most agencies will just say, hey, I've got this package service. It's $1,000, $2,000 a month. Take it or leave it. And those are the ones that don't generate results. So they fail to understand the business. So yeah, we spend a lot up front. We have one person full-time who does all the keyword research, and she will literally just find the best keywords to target for clients. And we'll show it to the client before they're a client. So they can take this and go elsewhere if they wish. That's fine. But we kind of back ourselves that, hey, we've done all this work. Surely we can take this conversation a bit further. And sometimes clients do go elsewhere. That's fine. We're not desperate for clients, and we don't really want to work with a client that operates like that anyway. So we've definitely refined our processes over the last few years, to say the least.
This has been fantastic. I could talk about this stuff all day, get into the weeds with you, get a little nerdy, but unfortunately, our time is a little bit short. If there's one last piece of advice that you'd like to leave the audience with, what would it be?
It would be, if you are in business for the long term, think long term and invest in SEO while things are going good, not when they're going wrong.
I completely agree with that. I've seen that play out multiple times in my career. Joshua, you were dead on. So if someone wants to reach out to you and connect, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Yeah, so you can just go over to our website, just click slice.co.uk, just click as a mouse click, slice as a slice of pizza. If you are looking to generate more inquiries organically, whether it's sales, inquiries, whatever it may be, if you want to boost your online visibility and be seen above your competitors, please do reach out to us. We actually have a free discovery call, so you can book a call with us. You'll jump on a call with either me or Theo, and what we'll do a mini audit of your website right there on the call in real time and show you exactly where you're going wrong. And then if it's a good fit, we'll put together a custom plan for you to achieve your goals and objectives.
Awesome. We really appreciate you coming on the show today. Brought up some amazing points that everybody should think about how important SEO strategy is as part of your overall business objectives. Wow, just fantastic stuff.
Yeah, this was particularly good.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. That's it for today's episode of the Digital Velocity Podcast. I'm Eric Martinez from Blue Tangerine.
And I'm Tim Curtis from Cohere One.
Thank you for listening. To learn more about how Blue Tangerine and Cohere One can help you generate more sales for your business, visit bluetangerine.com and cohere1.com. If you have enjoyed our show today, please tell a friend, leave us a review, and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. Visit the digitalvelocitypodcast.com website to send us your questions and topic suggestions. Be sure to join us again on the Digital Velocity Podcast.